Hello, friends. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. I know that the audio quality is probably different than what you're used to hearing, but if you can just bear with me for about a minute or so, we will transition into the normal quality of the episode. As I was editing today, I found out that the first couple of minutes of my episode did not record properly. It's very choppy. I think maybe just it might have been a distance from the mic thing. Doesn't really matter. But I feel really determined to move forward. Accidents happen, things happen. But I want to get this content out in an effort to get back to consistency and not overly obsessing over perfection. But I will lay out the framework here. Today, I want to talk to you about perceptions and disclosure and presence online, what's real and what isn't. And what sparked this for me was that I was online and I was scrolling and I came across this page where a woman had done a 1-year weight loss transformation and she lost about 45 pounds. And as you know, 45 pounds is enough to see the difference. But she had such an amazing recomposition that I just was like, wow. And so I liked the picture. And then, I don't know, just as I thought to scroll away, something about the picture just felt too good to be true. And so I put on my detective hat, I scrolled through the page, and eventually I found what I was looking for. It was not a real profile. And although the images looked pretty good, pretty accurate, pretty everyday sort of looking kitchen, there were a couple of selfies where she took one selfie and then there was another selfie like some weeks later and the shadows were identical, although the selfies were not identical. So it finally clued me in that I was looking at an AI generated image, but whoever was behind the account might not be a woman, might be a group of people I don't know. They were responding to people in the comments, thanking them for compliments and, just moving forward as if it was them. And so for me, it just brings a lot of things into question for me as I'm spending time online. And I think one of my bigger takeaways we'll get into on the episode. But I feel like we're getting to a place where AI is difficult to distinguish. Now let's continue with the episode. Well, I just want to share an experience I had. I was on TikTok the other day and I was scrolling and I came across this post of a weight loss transformation. And it was someone who, I think she lost about 45 pounds. And as you know, that's definitely enough for a very visible difference in most people. And I'm honest with you, in this moment, my jaw kind of dropped because the weight loss transformation, you could just really see the body recomposition a lot more. The person looked a lot more toned. And I just thought, wow, this is inspiring. Took a real themselves and threw it into AI and said, make me slimmer, and just posted it. Like, what is the objective behind it? And does anyone else who came across this page, are they suspicious at all? Do they know that it's AI? And I started to wonder too, when people are saying, hey, can you help me? Is this person DMing them and saying, hey, I'm selling meal plans? And, of course they can just go on to ChatGPT or any of the other platforms and just generate all that stuff. I guess what is deeply upsetting in my mind is we're on all of these platforms and we're always told, don't compare yourself to other people's lives. Stuff on social media isn't always real. And I think in concept, we know that. But when we spend a lot of time online, sometimes we think that we can tell the difference, but we become a bit numb. I would say, especially late at night, you're scrolling, maybe you can't sleep, you start to look on social media in the middle of the night. Your mind is a bit dull because it's the middle of the night. And at this point, you may have been scrolling for 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. It can go by so quickly. And what I believe it does is it sort of dulls the mind until your perception has now been altered. And my other question with all of this too is like, what is the responsibility of the platforms themselves? What is the responsibility of TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat to help the user, the end user, know what is real, even when that person that has the account doesn't disclose it? And then I thought, maybe all of this is even bigger than what's happening on platforms, because obviously AI is being utilized in every single industry that you can think of. And I know that there's a lot of discussion online and people are like, oh, I hate AI, it's destroying the planet. But I think AI is not going away. And so maybe the question we need to be asking is, how can we do this ethically? How do we get to a place where disclosure is there? If someone is creating something with AI, is it unethical for them to create? Or is that just another form of artistic expression? I think that disclosure is the most important thing here. If we go back to the example of the fitness page that I ran across, a real harm can be done. A lot of people are very trusting, and when they see someone with results that they like, that are similar to where they're trying to go, they want to figure out how that person did it. And they want to see, hey, are you selling meal plans? Can I follow you? What did you do for your workouts? Meanwhile, this entire image that this person has created is manufactured. It just really shook me because I thought, wow, on my best day, I at least can take a couple minutes to take a second look. But on my worst day, I may just quickly give the person a follow and not question the legitimacy of the profile itself and the information that's being shared. And the wellness space is a tough one. I find myself being part of it, talking about, how we eat, getting better sleep, living a mindful life. But every person that's sharing information is in some ways presenting themselves to be a subject matter expert. And one person may have 6 months of training or experience. Another person may have 12 years of knowledge. One person may have a degree or certification. Another person may have just only life experience. And I think it just is a good reminder to me, although all of these voices in this space can be extremely helpful and encouraging, at the end of the day, it is our personal journey. And you can take a little bit from this person, a little bit from that person. You can take this from a book and that from a class you had. But your discernment is an integral part of the process. Something that looks so good on paper and seems completely black and white may not be the case for you. It could be something as simple as someone saying, it's bad to drink cold water. And for you, that doesn't work, because if your only choice is lukewarm or hot water, you probably won't drink enough water for the day. But if you're able to drink cold water, you can easily get in 80 to 100 ounces. So does it make sense in that instance to force yourself to drink warm water because someone said warm water is better for your body? Well, it's better to be hydrated, and then the one that really got me is this whole intermittent fasting movement. I felt like it was an excuse for people who often don't think and skip meals to just say that they were intermittent fasting, but they weren't. To me, intermittent fasting should be something that is closely monitored. It's pretty regimented. You should know exactly when you do eat for the day. It's not just, whenever I have my first meal is whenever. It should be like, no, I have my first meal around 4 p.m. I am paying attention to my fiber, my protein, my calories. There should be intentionality to all of it. And guess what? Even if intermittent fasting works for you, there may be a day where you wake up and you feel weak, you feel dizzy, you feel lightheaded, and you need to eat. And it may only be 9 a.m. And you did not fail because you didn't make it until 4 p.m. The only failure would be ignoring your body's signals that it needs fuel. And so whether or not you agree with the rise of AI and the effect that AI has on the planet, or the effect that AI has on our minds as we are able to lean on these systems to make decisions for us. However you view it, your opinion and your stance is valid. But my takeaway is still that our discernment has to be the primary thing that we use as we move through this life. Because even if it is a real person behind the computer screen and they're not fooling you with AI images, you don't always know their motives, and they can only share things from their perspective, from their lens, from their filter. And you know that you may have specific needs in your lifestyle. And the people who are giving wellness advice, even me, who you are listening to now, we're not able to personalize it as detailed as you may need. I want you to remember how important your judgment and your discernment is. And the more you trust it, the stronger it becomes. So no matter what happens with technology, you are protected by your wisdom, the wisdom that you use every day and the wisdom you strengthen every day as you trust yourself. So that's it, friends. I just had a moment, and for a moment I was fooled, and it just got me thinking about everything. But no matter what happens this week, this month, I hope you will lean in a little bit more to just trusting yourself.